I'm Jack Nichols and welcome to
Hello everyone and welcome back once again for the first of today's broadcasts. You join us for round number 6 of the Formula SimRacing Academy Championship and we head across the Atlantic and to America's most famous speedway, Indianapolis. Famed for its high-speed oval and host to the Indy 500, however the layout that we will be taking to is the 2.49 mile road course situated right in the middle of the main oval. Fast chicanes, tight braking zones, Indy certainly has it all. The perfect recipe for a great race, and with the new updated cars being slightly easier on the rear end and in an enhanced slipstream, it will certainly add that little bit of spice to today's proceedings. This afternoon's streaming schedule brought to you by the amazing people over at 3D Rap, Mesita Esports and SimLab. It kicks off right here in Academy. But make sure to stay tuned for the Pro Series and World Championship right after. So, who will come out on top today? Championship leader Damien Scouron is the man with the momentum, taking 3 out of the last 3 wins and a 14-point lead coming into round 6. We'll just have to wait and find out. I'm Zack Sweeney, joined by the brilliant Felix van Delft. So Felix, first of all, how are you? And secondly, what's in store for us?
Yeah, thank you, Zack. I'm doing great. I'm looking forward to this race once again. Like you mentioned, there's been a small update to the cars. Effectively, the rear end of the car, the rear tires have been made a bit more grippy, so it's a bit easier to drive. We saw a lot of drivers struggling, especially in the lower categories, with those rear tires to keep the car pointed in the right direction. And we did a small update on the dirty air and the slipstream, so it should be a bit more slipstream, a bit less dirty air for the drivers behind. So we would hope at least to see a bit more overtaking during this race in Indianapolis. Of course, it's still not the easiest track to overtake on, but hopefully we'll see a bit more than we've seen the last few rounds. Quick look at the championship as that is already on the screen right now. Indeed, Scouron leading the championship with 14 points already. So there's a big pressure on Moscerino and Pasciuto behind to try and catch up a little bit.
Yeah, exactly. Of course, still a long way to go in the championship. Not even halfway there yet. But Scouron really with the momentum. You can see 3 of the last 3 wins. So that is a massive confidence boost. And confidence in motorsport is pretty much everything. He's really, really on a high morale coming into the day.
Definitely is. So let's jump into the qualifying session because I think the drivers are already getting ready to set their first lap times. So let's have a look. As we see, I believe, Riboli just coming across the line to start his first flying lap.
Yeah, a very tricky circuit is Indy. Really does flow well, but if you get the rear locking wrong, such as this long braking zone of turn 4, if you get the rears locked up, you really find yourself struggling. And then the fast chicane of turn 5 and 6, you can see really maximizing and jumping over those curbs to minimize the amount of turning he has to do. Then down this long back straight where we're going to see quite a bit of overtaking, a main action zone on the anchors for turn number 7, bring it back over for a quick right left chicane of turn 8 and 9, and then into turn 10, just a quick of a hook round, and then the flat out section through turn 11, and then towards the last couple of corners of turn 12, 13 and 14. You can see now approaching the final chicane on the anchors, jumping over inside curve, just locking the rears a little bit. Well held though from Riboli, but that's definitely going to be his lap. Probably not the best at the moment.
Yeah, just coming across the line. Let's see what it is for him. Indeed, not the greatest lap, 1.5 seconds off, so still a lot of time to be gained for him. But currently on provisional pole position, we've got Harry Smith, quite a bit in front of everybody else by half tenth in front of Pasciuto, and then about 4.5 tenths in front of Dave of Grantham. So quite a big gap between those guys. But Harry Smith, again, looking strong in qualifying here. We've seen Harry do some good performances, but he's been a bit on and off throughout the season so far. Some races he's been doing well, some others he's not been doing quite as well. So let's see if this is one of those races where he's able to really show his pace and performance. Currently still on provisional pole position, but of course still about half of this qualifying session left. And everybody will try and, of course, take that away from him.
Yeah, exactly. Harry Smith, one that is very, very good on one-lap pace, took pole in Imola a few weeks ago, the first round, and since then, as you say, just been sort of on and off. But if he can keep that momentum rolling, currently provisional pole, and with a couple more flying laps left to go, of course, remember they get 3 flies in the 9-minute qualifying session, so still a long time to improve upon it. But Prosciutto and Macarena are going to be very, very, just going to want to top him. Championship leader Scouron across the line. What can he set as a good banker time across the line? Where's it going to put him? It's going to put him provisional pole. Very, very good time. About a 10th and a quarter up on Harry Smith, so not at all a bad time from the championship leader.
Definitely not great. Great first lap time of Scouron indeed. I think his first attempt had a bit of a mistake, so he boarded that lap. So his first completed lap time looking very strong indeed, about 1.5 tenths, 1.25 tenths in front of Harry Smith. So Harry Smith has got some work to do. We're right now looking at Roberto Pignataro as he's coming through the final corner. Easy flat in qualifying in the race. I think it will be easy flat as well if the car is set up properly. But it might be on the edge, especially with worn tires. Might see some guys struggling there as Pignataro is not able to improve his lap time.
Yeah, as you say, 14, a very long sweeping corner leading it onto the back straight, and that is going to really promote some good racing. A good launch off turn 13 and then a long flat out section towards turn 1. And with the mitigated dirty air, it is definitely going to improve the racing. Harry Smith on a pretty good lap here. Purple to the first sector, white to the middle sector, so he's all or nothing now in this final sector as he runs through turn 14, completely flat in qualifying spec, as you said, and he runs to the line for his second attempt. What's it going to be? Is it going to pop Scouron? Don't think so, no. Overall, wasn't an improvement. And there's a spin there of Batala.
Indeed. Luxak down in 12th position at the moment, looking to improve. At least in the first 2 sectors. Last sector is, of course, still quite important. For people wondering if the people aren't cutting there on the outside, there's an exception so people can run over that white line onto the oval without getting a penalty for that. As Luxak now comes out of the final corner. Ribali has had a purple second sector, but in the last sector didn't have enough to move up. And also Luxak not enough to move up a position for him. And also I think it was an improvement. Prosciutto though, he's quick in the first sector.
Yeah, definitely really hooked it up. Let's see what you can do through the middle and final. Purple to the middle sector as well. Currently around about 2 tenths down on the provisional pole time, but as he now runs through turn number 11 and towards the final chicane of turn 13 and 14, he knows he's up. He's going to want to give it everything through these last couple of corners. This has definitely felt like a good lap, pinning that apex. Nice slip angle on the Prosciutto's car, and now through the final corner, completely flat out, pedal to the middle and across the line. Is it going to topple Scouron?
He is.
Yes, very nice lap there. 2.5 tenths quicker as well. Wasn't by some slim margin either.
That's a great lap time from Prosciutto. Scouron doesn't manage to improve actually. So that's a bit of a shocker to me actually. Prosciutto, great lap with a big gap to Harry Smith, David Scouron behind, and they've all got to try and fight back now. But I think they only have 1 attempt left. Everybody has 1 attempt left, probably, with about 2 minutes left on the timing. As we are looking at Dave of Brantham, who's on his out lap. I think Danny Robbins is on a hot lap already, coming through Sector 2 right now.
It's important he hooks it up white to the first sector. If I'm not wrong, that means it's not an improvement, so he really does need to give it everything. Of course, the 3 laps means everything's on the line. There's a lot more at stake. Bit of a twitch, and he's green to the middle sector, so it is a slight improvement, but all counts in this final sector then for Robbins. Currently P6, 7 tenths off the provisional pole time set by Prosciutto, but that is a different league at the moment, set by the man who's currently provisional pole. Scouron, I believe you did say he had a bad first run, so he's only had 2 proper ones. Did Robbins improve? No, he didn't. So that's his final run over, and it's only P6.
Yeah, definitely didn't look happy with that either. Harry Smith is starting his last attempt. Purple in the first sector for Smith, so looking good already through there. Now he needs a good second and third sector as well to top off that time of Prosciutto. Second sector has a bit of understeer there through that right-hander. Now, you can do this. That's illegal. Now, have to be careful for the inside curb. Very high curb. If you touch that too hard, of course, the car is going to be unsettled a bit much. Also purple in the second sector for Harry Smith. What is his final sector gonna be? Shortest way to the line, and across the line he comes. It is going to be just a bit less in the last sector. Not enough to get that pole position. That last sector really hurt him there.
Yeah, definitely. Harry Smith really not looking happy with that. First two sectors absolutely blitzing. Maybe pressure got to him a bit. He knew he was up and just couldn't hook it up. As you say, that curb very, very high, and maybe just clipped it a bit too much. The front end getting a bit unsettled.
Yeah, Damian Scaron. He is also on his final attempt now, and Pasciuto also on the lap, trying to, of course, defend his provisional pole position. Scaron is entering sector 2 right now. Didn't improve in the first sector, and actually lost quite a bit of time compared to his previous attempt. So I think this is going to be not another improvement for Scaron. Indeed, second sector also losing time. Another purple for second sector, sorry, for Pasciuto. So he'll maybe even extend his provisional pole time by a few tenths. Damian Scaron across the line. I don't think it will be improvement for him. Indeed, it will not be. So Pasciuto, I think, is pretty safe. Few more drivers on the lap, of course, but nobody really on a really big improvement, as Pasciuto crosses the line, doesn't improve his lap time, but it doesn't matter. Mazzarino across the line as well, no improvement for him. So I think the pole position here today is for Cosmo Pasciuto.
Very, very tight qualifying session. Well, I say that. Pasciuto is in a different league. 2.5 tenths quicker than Harry Smith, but Harry Smith and Scaron very, very close. Only 13 hundredths of a second separating second and third. So still a lot at stake. Scaron, though, is definitely a man that prefers the race. Of course, 3 out of the last 3 wins. Very, very good. But the top 10 then, Pasciuto takes pole ahead of Harry Smith. Damian Scaron in P3 and Adam Rainey in P4. Lorente in P5, Macareno in P6, Robbins P7, McKinney in P8, Hamming in P9, and Batalla in P10. A very tight top 10, separated by only about 7.5 tenths.
Yeah, indeed. Very tight within this top 10, indeed. That's only promising, of course, to see what's going to happen in the race. But first, I think we're going to have a look at what Michi Hoyer has to say about this Indianapolis GP track.
Hello everyone, this is Formula SimRacing. My name is Michi Hoyer and I welcome you for the track presentation of Round 6, the United States Grand Prix. We are at the Indianapolis Grand Prix circuit and we're going around the final turn onto the big brickyard, the big long oval straight, and across the start finish line to start our presentation. That heavy braking zone into turn 1. The best overtaking spot on the track for sure. Straight into turn 2. Need to be persistent there a bit with the throttle to allow enough rotation. Then straight into turn 4 you go. Stay on the inside here because you need to set up for that quick and tricky chicane. High curves 5 and 6 onto the back straight into turn 7. And now we have 4-way chicane. You go left, and then there comes the quick chicane. You go right, you go left again. You want to stay on the inside because you need to set up for this turn 11 apex, trying to carry all the speed onto the exit curve, flat out through turn 12, line up on the outside, heavy braking zone again into 13. Don't want to go too wide there as well, so you want to straight open up the entry for 14, and then as early as possible onto the power, flat out through turn 15 onto the start finish straight. And guys, that is one lap around the Indianapolis circuit. I hope you will enjoy the Indy Grand Prix, the United States Grand Prix in the FSR 2021 season.
Welcome back, everyone. Just after Michi Hoyer's brilliant hot lap around the Indy GP circuit, you join us for the race. 47 laps after qualifying, and well, strategy's going to play a big part, isn't it, Felix? We say around a one stop definitely is possible, looking to pit around 23 or 24, but probably the more preferred strategy is going to be the 2-stop, 19 on the softs, 9 on the hards, and around about 19 on the softs again. Do you reckon that's possible, Felix?
Yeah, I think we're looking at something like that. The fuel tank holds about 45 liters. I think people could try to go for more than 20 laps indeed on one tank, but it's going to be difficult. So we might see somebody trying one stop, some guys trying two stops. We're going to have to wait and see what's actually going to happen in the race. Of course, everybody is still hiding their strategy for everybody else. So we'll have to wait and see what's going to happen there. But indeed, I hope this will be an exciting race again, strategy-wise, but also on-track-wise with the new slipstream that we've got. That will allow, hopefully, for a bit more overtaking down the main straight and perhaps also down the back straight. We've seen in the amateur series that was broadcasted a bit earlier today that indeed there is a bit more opportunity for overtaking. So let's hope the drivers take advantage of that. But also let's hope that the racing still stays clean.
Yeah, that is the main thing. Turn 1 and 2 do cut back on each other, so maybe a launch up the inside into turn 1 will only see you get counter-attack into turn 3 and 4, but if you stay on the outside for turn 2, you'll have the inside for 4. It is a very, very interesting first sector in terms of overtaking, so we'd only have to wait and see. A lot of variables as well can influence the strategy, similar to Spain in Formula 1 with Hamilton getting a massive undercut, so maybe we could see something similar to that. You know, you want to cover off the undercut if your rival comes in a lap earlier, even if you're due to stay out an extra 5 or so laps, you know, it might be worth just following in. So a lot of variables that can definitely play in, and we'll just have to wait and see. 47 laps is a long race, and well, it's definitely going to be a race of attrition, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. And something that is also good to notice, good to talk about a little bit. This upcoming 3 races are all part of a, let's say, a side quest mini championship. It will be more important in the World Championship race later today, but it is also applicable to the Academy and the Pro Series. We've got a triple crown, essentially. Indianapolis, United States GP, Azure, next race, and of course the race afterwards, Le Mans, France. That's going to be, those 3 races going to be part of the Triple Crown Championship, effectively, which is a sub-part of the championship here in the Formula SimRacing 2021 championships. But of course, drivers might not be really focusing on that today. Of course, the regular championship is more important for them, I think, at the moment, but still, nice thing to have on the side as well.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, definitely more races of novelty, Indy, Azure, and Le Mans, obviously 3 of the most famous races in the real life world, making up the Triple Crown. So nice novelty and touch from FSR to include that in the championship. But yeah, as you say, the main focus definitely going to be on the main championship, especially for the 3 at the front.
Yeah, let's have a look at the grid, because drivers are already on the way for their formation lap. So Prosciutto will be starting on pole position together with Harry Smith, Damien Scaron on 3rd, championship leader of course, and Adam Rainey starting next to him in 4th position. Then Sergio Loranto for NetRace Grand Prix in 5th, Christian Mozzarino in 6th, Danny Robbins 7th, and Mircea Mancini in 8th position. Then 9th, Frank Hemming. Gerard Batala in P10 for Royal Blue Racing, 11th Grecek Lukczak, and 12th Devo Brenton. And then in 13th we've got Roberto Pignotaro for Go Speed, Janis Lianos in 14th, 15th Jurgen van Bergen, and 16th Indrek Remates, also for NetRex. Then Massimiliano Mribioli in 17th, Dimitri Zarov in 18th, Armano Iannacone in 19th, and Max Haas in 20th. And then the last few drivers on the grid: Patrick Rusenak, Petr Vakapov, Kevin Morville in 23rd, Andrei Borodovsky in 24th, and 25th, Tommy Yulitalo. As I think the drivers are already getting ready to start the race.
So here we go then, they've lined up, they've had their formation out, we're getting ready to go to 5 red lights. It's a pretty short run towards turn 1, but it's such a crucial one. And they're revving up, they're getting ready to go racing. Here we go then to 5 red lights. They're illuminating your screen, the engines are smoking, the adrenaline's high. And we're underway for round 6. It looks like a pretty good start amongst the midfield. They're all pulling away alongside, but it's a pretty good start for Prosciutto. He's managed to cover it off going in towards turn 1. Harry Smith and Scouron running side by side, 3 abreast towards turn 1 then. And on the outside goes Scouron trying to make up positions. There's a bit of contact. The rear diffuser is all kicking off further back. There's a lot of cars off. There's a load of cars off. Adam Rainey getting involved, 3 abreast on the exit. And it's all kicking off on this first lap. Everyone really, really excited to get underway. But a great start for Prosciutto. Pretty much ideal. Already 6 tenths ahead.
Yeah, indeed. He's managed to get through those first corners cleanly and fend off Harry Smith for now. But of course we know that Harry Smith and also Damian Scaron have got a lot of pace in the race as well. So let's see how they will be able to cope with that. And of course with that changed car, with the changed slipstream further down the field. Indeed, we saw a little bit of bumping and barging through the first couple of corners, but I think there is no DNFs as of now. Probably a few broken wings that need to be repaired in the pit stop.
So far, a clean race. Here's Frank Hamming and Adam Rainey going side by side. Rainey just about getting the better of him now towards turn 13 and into 14. So a pretty topsy-turvy first lap for Adam Rainey, but so far so clean. Harry Smith closing the gap, 3/10 to Prosciutto. This increased slipstream allowing him to close. He's going to pull to the inside. Late brakes. Is he going to go for it into turn 1? Yes, he is. Around the outside. He has not got that right, though. He's going to run them both off the track. Here comes Scaron to get back up into P2 and now put the pressure on Harry Smith. And that is a great opportunistic move from Scaron. And now he's putting the pressure on Harry Smith down towards turn number 5 and 6. He's going to have the long straight towards 7. It's so crucial he gets a good exit. He needs to be tucked right in the slipstream. But can he go for it into turn 7? No, he looks a little bit too far back, but he's definitely now in a good position to try and close up on Harry Smith.
Yeah, I think the Netrex GP car from Harry Smith has quite a low downforce setup, so quite high top speed inherently as well. So that will help him to overtake, of course, and especially helped him just now coming down that start-finish straight for the first time, overtaking Prosciutto and, of course, like you said, Scaron taking the opportunity as they made a little bit of contact during turn 1. But I think Scaron can see it down the straight. He's not even closing in with the slipstream. So Netrex GP opting to go for the low downforce setup, working out so far at the start of this race.
Yeah, as you say, it does allow them to defend really efficiently. Scaron, even with that toe hook of the slipstream, allowing him to close up, that advantage is really mitigated. We've got a little bit of a battle going on here between Vitala, Brandthal and Frank Hamming. Frank Hamming on the hard tyres, so really is going to be a bit of a mobile chicane right now. Currently P8, but probably got a massive queue of cars behind him, and Vitala lining up the move, trying to maybe have a look into turn 7, but just a little bit too far back. Just goes to show how crucial that initial exit of turn 6 is.
Yeah, definitely. Batala. I think Scaron is getting close again. Of course, in that middle sector with the higher wings, he has a lot more grip. He's very close, as we see somebody without a rear wing coming into the pit lane. Very close now, so the slipstream should help him right now. But is it going to be enough compared to those low wings? I think he's even pulling away here down the start-finish straight. Nothing Scaron can really do. Starting to slightly close in now, but way too much top speed from Harry Smith and the Netrex GP car. So Scaron is going to have to find a way else to get past Harry Smith, because down the straight, I think it's not going to be easy, at least not unless Smith makes any mistakes.
No, exactly as you say. He's a little bit closer on this particular occasion, making Harry Smith look in his mirrors, and once he's close, he really does gain a little bit more. Pulling to the outside, he's going to go really late on the brakes into turn 7, swoop all the way around the outside, goes on the grass a little bit, dips 2 wheels in, but still going to chuck his nose on the inside. Harry Smith not giving this one up, and he's really allowing Prosciutto to close in as well, so still a 3-horse race at the front, but Scaron just going to have to concede that position. But that was a really good attempt, a great send around the outside, and he knew he has to do something. He has to make those moves, because down the straight, he's just got nothing.
Yeah, exactly. That's the only kind of places that he will be able to get past Harry Smith, I think. Down the straight is just not an option for him at the moment, so he has to be opportunistic. Was a safe move as well, but unfortunately wasn't able to make it stick. But perhaps on the next attempt, he will be able, of course, to... It's still 43 laps in this race, so still a lot of time to get past.
Exactly, doesn't want to throw it away too quickly, but still does want to get through, because the longer he's behind, the more heated up his tyres are going to get. That's only going to make him fall backwards into the clutches of perhaps Prosciutto and Robbins, who is still there, still in the slipstream of Scaron. He's going to try and look to the inside, but again, that Harry Smith just got such good straight-on speed, so Scaron really needs to pick his moments, set up the move, maybe even corners in advance, set Harry Smith offline for a bit, and then set the move up. But at the moment, Harry Smith hanging on brilliantly and really elbows out as well, does not want to give this lead away.
He definitely doesn't. Ooh, a bit of a missed apex from Harry Smith there, a bit of a wiggle as well on the exit. Perhaps this is enough for Scaron to pick up that slipstream, but I doubt it. Down the straight, and Netrex is just too powerful. Going for the inside line to try and defend. This close does help a bit with the slipstream. Maybe around the outside, very late on the brakes. That's not going to be easy though. Prosciutto also behind, trying to look for any opportunities as Scarron did in the first lap, or the second lap effectively. Now again through the fast chicane, hook up those curbs. Very good run from Prosciutto. Surely he's going to go around the outside of Scarron here.
Surely he's got a very good run. Scarron does not want to give this up, but Prosciutto was such a good run. How he got that good of a run through turn 5 and 6, we don't know. But this is all in Harry Smith's favour. This is allowing to get that gap. And if he can just feed Prosciutto, Scarron to the likes of Robbins and make them fight amongst each other, that's going to allow him to pull a gap and alleviate some of that pressure. But at the moment, still the gap only 5 tenths. Maybe Prosciutto's got a bit more in his tank and can get the move done. But these guys behind, they don't want to fight amongst themselves. They need to close on Harry Smith because he's got some great pace. He's not going to give it up easily.
Definitely. I think Prosciutto has a bit more top speed as well compared to Scarron. I don't know how it compares exactly to Harry Smith. Right now he's closing in a little bit more, but too far behind to do any moves. But let's see how he'll be able to cope in the second sector. That's where we saw Harry Smith lost a lot of time to Scarron. How will that compare to Prosciutto? Very close to each other as there is a back marker in front also starting to close in. Of course, for those new to this series, no DRS, no boost modes. It is all down to the driver here. Prosciutto for now not able to close in enough. But Scarron also still luring behind them. And Danny Robbins not too far behind either.
It is very difficult to overtake, especially amongst Sector 2, so you really just need to get as close as you can and mitigate the disadvantage and just stay so close. Scarron really trying to get onto the back of Prosciutto, practically pushing them now. They're bumper to bumper to bumper of the top 3, and Robin's just a little bit behind, lurking in the background. Bit of a slide from Prosciutto there, but he's managed to get the throttle on pinned, and he's only at 2.5 tenths back, really fighting the car through turn 14 there, trying to get a good exit, but that is going to cost him on Harry Smith. But, I mean, he's still got the slipstream. Here's Scarron under pressure from Robbins, and he's pulling it to the outside for turn number 1. Can he get it done? Yes, he can. So Scarron really going backwards now, and little mistakes here and there really costing him. So the championship leader falling backwards in this race.
Yeah, little mistakes, and also I think the wing. He's just got a little bit too much wing to properly defend from people that have slightly lower wing. And that just hampers him down the straight. He just gets overtaken. No chance for him to really defend. Especially if he makes a bit of a mistake, as Harry Smith does there. Prosciutto around the outside. A little bit of contact is going to allow Danny Robbins past. He's very close to the back of Harry Smith. Now also Scarron once again joining in with his fight. But a mistake from Harry Smith allows Cosmo Prosciutto to go into the lead. And now also Robbins. Ooh, Scarron almost spins the car as Harry Smith and Robbins have a bit of a touch. Scarron trying to find a way past, but everything kicking off here in lap 8.
Yeah, it really is. Elbows out race, and Scarron should have made the most of that, but just a bit of a slide there really did cost him through turn 12, and he couldn't maximise it. But Robbins up 2 places on this lap, really good. But Prosciutto, 1.5 seconds because of that confuffle behind him, really made the most of Harry Smith's mistake. A really uncharacteristic mistake from Harry Smith. Maybe the pressure just got to him a bit, but Prosciutto really made the most of it where it counted, and now is playing dividends for it. 1.7's in front. He's got the clear air now. He just needs to get his head down and hope Robbins, Harry, and Scarron don't close on. But Scarron's still with Harry and is closing. Maybe, Harry Smith's going to be a little bit less confident now. He's made a couple of mistakes, so this is where Scarron needs to get him when his morale is low. You can see really closing through the chicane. And now through turn 9 into 10, he just needs to get so close to set up a good launch. That's exactly what he's done, but a bit of a shake. Scarron just not quick enough where it counts.
Yeah, also tire wear is of course starting to play a role now, as we are 9 laps into this race now. I would assume most people will go at least for another 9 laps roughly. But this time around, Scarron very close to Smith. No way that Smith is going to be able to fend this. Look at that. If he pulls out of the slipstream, just slows down, dives up the inside though. Inside now is going to be for Harry Smith. So it's going to be difficult for Scarron to keep the car there. But he's been able to do so and takes the position away from Harry Smith.
Very nicely done from Scouron. Knew he needed to make that move, but Harry Smith knows he's got a long straight where he is going to be strong. But Scouron has made the most of that little bit of a chicane. He's managed to open up enough of a gap to not be under pressure from Harry Smith. So back onto the podium, 1.3 seconds off Robbins, but Prosciutto already 2 seconds ahead. So Harry Smith falling a little bit backwards. Maybe tyre wear's a little bit more prevalent for him with that lower downforce potentially. He's relying a lot more on the tyre grip.
Definitely is. And Prosciutto, look at the gap he's already made to Danny Robbins, 2.5 seconds almost. Very strong so far. Of course, he took that opportunity that presented himself from the mistake from the guys in front of him, and he's leading the race now quite comfortably. But how will he be able to cope at the end of the race? Of course, still 37 laps to go, so still a lot of time to make mistakes or to do a different strategy. We'll have to wait and see what happens. But so far, Prosciutto, great job.
Really, really consistent, picking his moments well, didn't do any rash judgments, just sat behind, waited for them to make the mistakes for him, and then opened the door, and now extending his legs, spreading his legs and getting in front. And you can see it's been such a tight battle up till now, but the top four really spreading out, over 1 second between each of them, and a really wide field spread. Maybe the dirty air change hasn't been enough. Maybe sitting behind for 10 or so laps really has knackered out these guys' tyres. The battling mistakes as well really isn't going to help him. So actually no, Scouron is now back under 1 second of Robin, so really recomposed himself and now pushing. Wow, tyre wear really going to start affecting him. He just needs to get his head down, try and keep himself under control and minimize the sliding, but he is closing.
Down the main straight they come for the 12th time effectively. And Scouron indeed starting to close in a little bit more to Robbins. We know that Scouron has the pace, but as we saw, a bit of a mistake from Robbins there. That's not going to help him. Scouron closing in a lot here. Down the chicane. Now we'll be trying to get some slipstream down the back straight. Closing in further and further. Of course, we know he's got a bit higher wing compared to the others. At least it seems. So he can get close enough, he might be able to do an overtake once again down the start-finish straight, but that is a difficult spot for him.
Yeah, we saw when he was trying to overtake Harry Smith, he pulled out and just lost it. As soon as he pulled out, lost the advantage he had, but we've noticed that the prime place to be is around about 3/10, so he is still in that, is Scouron, just under, and he really does need to just maximise the exit of 10-13, but yeah, Robbins pulling enough of a gap, and Scouron's sort of wing setup did work well in quali, but it's just not allowing him to race well. He's quick through the corners, but that's not where it counts. You need to be slippy down the straights like we saw Prosciutto and Harry Smith. It really does work for them to defend.
Yeah, again a mistake there from Robbins. That inside tyre not liking that corner quite a bit. Of course, quite a difficult corner. You have to turn, you have to brake. Inside right tyre lifts up quite a lot, so it's easy to lock it up. But of course, if you do that too often, the tyre starts to wear down, and that's not what you want to see.
Not at all, especially when you're on the softs and you're trying to extend them as long as you possibly can to have this advantage for longer. But Robin really struggling, and so is Scouron, both just struggling on tyre wear, and it is really now coming to effect that they want to extend the stint as long as they can, nearly hitting them under brakes there. Scouron very deep, that is going to cost him, and this is exactly where he wants to close the gap, not lose the gap, as this corner proceeds onto the long pit straight, and these mistakes from Scouron really are costing him. He's got the pace where it counts, but just where he needs a good exit, it just isn't enough. Bit of a battle for P7. Actually, no, Branthal was the first to sort of come into the pits amongst the midfield, so dropping down and probably, I would imagine, going to the hards for the middle stint and then back to the softs for a quick, slippy final stint. But other than that, we got Janos in P18, a little bit close, but other than that, a really, really wide field spread dropping down the grid. But other than that, yeah, Scouron's still close on Robbins, but again, we've seen he just isn't able to close the gap in the important traction zones.
Yeah, Dave of Brantham, first driver to do a regular pit stop, as he comes out right in front of Lianos and Jurgen van Bergen. right outside of the points for now. But of course, a different strategy surely is going to be to stop. He's not going to be doing 33 laps on this set of soft tires to the end of the race. Even won't be able to do that on a single tank of fuel. So interesting to see. Strategy from the AFP guys with Brantham. A bit different than most of the other drivers, at least for now. Let's see what the rest of the field is going to do now. Prosciutto in the lead, still quite comfortably by over 4 seconds now.
Yeah, really extending his lead and just controlling the tyre wear. Doesn't need to push, he knows that. So he's really caring to these tyres well, not locking up, not making any mistakes. But an interesting strategy from Branfold to do double soft stint. So he needs to maximise this middle stint because he's going to be a lot slower towards the end and really be under pressure. So he just doesn't want to get caught up in this middle stint where it really does count. This is going to be his fastest stint of the race. And yeah, if he makes any crucial mistakes now, he's pretty much buggered for the remainder of the race.
Caron still kind of stuck behind Robbins. He's quicker in the middle sector, but not able to close in enough to make the overtake work with his higher wing setting. Nobody else coming into the pit lane, I think, except for Jurgen van Bergen, who just came into the pit lane. But nobody in the top 15 opting to go for that first pit stop just yet. 32 laps to go in this race, so I think we'll see some drivers try and go very long in this first stint. And some others going a bit earlier, so in the next few laps going for their first stop and then doing a second one a bit later on.
Yeah, it is definitely going to be interesting, the mix and strategy at the moment. I would imagine Prosciutto probably going to go longest of most because he's got a big gap and he's chilling and really doesn't have to use much of these tyres. Scouron, you can see, really closing on Robbins, and he's going to actually go for the undercut. He's going to go for the proactive strategy now and try and have the fresher tyres and will be quicker. And he knows he's not quick enough to get past on merit, so he needs to do it in the pit lane.
Indeed, very hot pit entry there from Scouron. Of course, wants to take the most advantage that is possible in this pit stop. Stopping in the box. I think it's another set of soft. No, it's a set of hard tires for Scouron. So he has abided by the tire rules, but of course, like I just said about the other driver as well, won't be able to do 30 laps on a single set of or a single tank of fuel. As he comes out in P9. There's still a bit of a gap to Andrei Boratovsky behind him. So he will now be trying to push these tires in the first few laps. Try and make that undercut work indeed.
Come out in a really nice batch of clean air. You can see Frank Hamming now as he's actually come onto the soft tyres and fight with Borovsky now through turn 5 and 6. He's going to have to concede that. Actually, apologies, it's Adam Rainey, and Adam Rainey really committed through turn 5 and 6, and Hamming just having to concede there. So Rainey up into P11, but back to what I was saying about Scouron. Interesting. He and now Robbins has actually reacted and Harry Smith in as well, so he's reacted to that. Doesn't want to lose much time. But question, Felix, how long can a full tank of fuel go?
I think it is about 22, maybe 23 laps. So it is on the limit. 47 laps total. You would have to think, or if you do one stop, I think you would have to save quite a bit of fuel. But it is not entirely impossible. We've seen amazing things happen from drivers in the past regarding fuel saving and going very long when we don't expect it. So I think maybe somebody's going to try, but I don't think it will be the fastest strategy at least.
Definitely the merit of it. You will have track position, but then again, probably isn't going to be quicker, and it's not too difficult to overtake. We've proven that at the front, so definitely being on the quicker tyre for longer should be better. But would you imagine that the likes of Scouron take that fuel tank pretty much dry and then be really light on those tyres towards the end for the softs? But interesting, Scouron has managed to get himself in front, and Robbins on the soft compound tyre, so doing a similar strategy to who was it? I believe it was Bramfell.
Yeah, I think also Scouron underfueled his car quite a bit. At least that. Otherwise, that gap doesn't really make sense. That big of a gap between the two. So I think Robbins has opted to go for a longer middle stint and then go for a very short last stint. And Scarron has done the exact opposite, I think. He's going to do a relatively short stint, so probably about 10 laps, maybe a bit more on these hard tires, and then at the end of the race we'll do a longer stint on, I would assume, another set of the soft tires to go to the end. So we'll have to wait and see how that balance works out between those two drivers in the next stop. But definitely interesting to see the different strategies between these two drivers. And Prosciutto is also into the pits now.
So yeah, as I said, probably the longest of the main protagonists for the win to come in. He's come in, he's strapping on some soft compound tyres. So again, going for a strong middle stint and then ending it off on the hard compound tyre. So a really diverse mix and a big variety amongst the field. Actually, I say that, in fact, most of the field have gone onto the soft. So it seems a lot of people are going for a quick first two stints and then a slower final stint to finish off the race. So interesting to see how the two strategies are going to compare to each other and where Prosciutto comes out in respect to the gap to Scarron. And yeah, he must have underfueled his car because he's come out in front of Scarron, so not going to be on these hard tires for long, it seems.
Indeed. So a completely different strategy for Scarron, but I think it might pay off for him. He's got a lot of clean air so far. He's not got any real traffic in front of him. Starting to catch up to Remates in front now, but still 2.5 seconds in front, so he won't get too much dirty air or issues from him. A few back markers, but as you can see, they get out of the way nicely. So he can really push on this lower fuel tank. Of course, it is the hard tire, so they have a bit less grip than the softs, but he can really push them to the limit without having a lot of hamper on the front. So it might just work out in the end. We'll have to wait and see, as we still have 28 laps to go, of course. Quite a bit.
Yeah, it's still a long way to go. It is a marathon, not a sprint, and these diverse strategies will pay the difference. The objective is to win, but not being the fastest guy out there, and if you can do that, then you really have proven yourself, making it work with a strategical and winning the race in the pit lane, especially at such a track such as Indy. It is so important to do so. But yeah, Scarron, really different strategy, definitely unorthodox, and we'll have to see how it pays off for him. And if it does work, then he's going to look like an absolute genius for this. We've got to... he's just negotiating the back markers now, and as you said, these hard tires are going to be a little bit more reliable in terms of grip. He can push them lap in, lap out without having the worry of hitting a massive cliff like he did on the softs.
Yep. Two guys at the front, Ruzinok and Rumates, they haven't stopped at all yet, so these might be one of those drivers that might try and go for that one stop. Let's see when they actually do come into the pit. I think I saw Ruzinok come in. Oh no, sorry, that's somebody else. That's a back marker in front, I think. So Ruzinok and Remates both still staying out for another lap, so they will do at least 22 laps on this. I don't know, they would have to do at least 23 and then 24 after that if the one stop works. So tough to call. Let's wait and see what they will do.
Yeah, I mean, definitely. I mean, Rusak on the soft, so if he's been on these tyres since lap 1, that is some intense tyre saving skills, but you can see how quickly Scarron is coming through, and it's definitely going to be in Remet's best interest to not fight this one too hard. But even Remet's on some really old tyres is gapping Scarron through the high-speed sections, and it just goes to show that Scarron's high downforce is costing him today.
Yeah, Remet's, of course, also a Netrex driver, so assume he will have a similar setup to Harry Smith, of course. He's on old hard tires compared to Scarron's new hard tires, so should be able to at least have a bit more grip. But again, if that top speed is not there, overtaking is going to be difficult. Let's see what Remetz is going to do. He's going to come into the pits. So we've done 22 laps in the first stint. Ooh, as Prosciutto, yeah, Prosciutto just flew past Damon Scarron as Scarron got stuck. And now Scarron will try to get past again down the start-finish straight. Will he be able to do so? No. So Prosciutto back into the lead of this race, of course, on the soft tires, so they would have a bit more pace compared to Scarron's hards. But that is an interesting thing to see, that Prosciutto has been able to get past him already.
Yeah, we saw a bit of a mistake through turn 12 for Scarron. Something we've been seeing pretty much all race has been a common theme. He's really been struggling there, locking the rears a bit too much and just getting the car really topsy-turvy. And that's cost him positions, and it's now cost him the race lead right now at this point in time. And that's really going to hinder his strategy. His strategy probably was push lap in, lap out on these hard tyres and extend the gap. But it's going to be a massive hit to him, and he needs to recompose himself quickly. So championship leader, then not having the best of races at Indy, still P2, so not at all a bad result if he can bring this home now. But yeah, it's definitely going to be a bit of a hit to him to see Prosciutto drive off like that. The gap is opening up as well.
So everybody has stopped now. I think that one-stop strategy is going to be too difficult. 24, 25 laps on a single tank of fuel. I don't think so. But maybe somebody will prove me wrong, and we'll do it in the end. We'll have to wait and see what Rijnak and Remedios will do. Those are the two drivers to look out for regarding that. Skyron and Prosciutto. Prosciutto now already 2 seconds almost ahead, has got up to another back marker a little bit here, but getting out of the way nicely as well. As we are halfway through this race.
Still definitely a long way to go. But at the moment, Prosciutto leads the way from Scour, and Robbins rounds off the top three. Harry Smith being quiet in P4, but Hamming with a great race so far, up to P5, followed by Branthal. So those two making the most of these first two stints really nicely. And halfway through, still a long way to go, and still very, very not decided just yet. But Scour now over 2 seconds back on Prosciutto.
Somebody's had an incident somewhere. I think that is Kevin Morville that has, yeah, his car is definitely toast in the barriers here. Let's see if we can have a look at what exactly happened to Morville. I think it was an incident on his own. Or was it? Yeah, he got a bit of a tap there. Spun around and then on the rejoin got collected by somebody else, and that's the end of his race indeed.
Big wreck and a lot of debris over the track, and big shame for Morville, not at all his fault, and just got collected up by other people's mistakes. And yeah, that's going to be him, DNF, one of 4 to be not finishing this race. Morville joins Pignatari, Rainey and Luxak as the 4 DNFs. We're only halfway through, hopefully no more will join him. Rimet's finally coming into the pits with Rusinak, and only a second back, and that is the closest gap on the track at the moment. Those two were pushing each other for the entirety of their first stint. But Rimet's on the softs again. Yeah, as you say, probably not going to go for a one-stop. He did commit to it, and that could cost him maybe staying out that first stint and then deciding to go for a two-stop. Could lose him a lot more time than he'd think.
Prosciutto still comfortable in front of Skyron now. Skyron dropping back further and further, of course, on those hard tires. Question is, when is he going to pit? There's 22 laps to go now, so technically he will be able to come in now and go to the end of the race. Is he going to do that? No, just looked like it for a second, but doesn't come in just yet. But I think it won't be too long for him to come into the pit lane.
5/10 is the gap for the fight for P8 between Macarino and Lianos. At the moment, still really close, and the 4/10 range is optimal for overtaking. We've seen that he is closing at the moment. I'm not too sure where they are on track now. Probably coming onto the pit straight. So it'd be nice to have a look at that. Maybe a fight for P8 going on between those two. But at the moment, on board with Scaron, that is a very smoky engine in front. The back marker, yeah, not having a too cool of an engine at the moment. But Scaron, he's really struggled this middle stint.
Indeed. Macerino a bit further behind. He is starting to catch up slightly to Giannis Lianos. Macerino on the soft tire, guy in front of him also on the soft tire. Effectively everybody except for Scaron is on the soft tire, and Armando Iannacone, but he's down in 17th place at the moment and lapped as well. So far we've got 5 DNFs, Kevin Morville, Pignataro. That's 4, by the way. Counting is sometimes difficult. Morville, Pignataro. Oh, and that's the 5th. Somebody else. I don't know exactly who that was, but I think Vakapov in the wall there. Yeah, and let's have a look if we can find the replay of that. Here we go. Came out of the final corner. Ooh, just lost it. Mentioned this in the qualifying that sometimes, especially in the race with higher fuel, and if the tires start to wear off, it will get more difficult to stay flat out through the corner, and some drivers will get caught out, and Vakapov was one of those. Lost the car there into the wall, end of his race.
Yeah, as you said in qualifying, very easy mistake to do. Tried to keep the throttle pinned, but the rear end just stepped away from him. Very hard to save as well, going that fast. And yeah, Scouron in as well, so a really short stint. Can he take softs to the end? He's going for softs to the end. What is that now? That'll be
19.
19 laps on the softs. Could do it.
Yeah, I think it's definitely possible. We saw, I think it was Roommates or the other guy that did a long first stint. He did it on softs, so probably will be able to do so, but he has to be careful. We saw that he's got a few slides in the first and second stint that he did. Needs to be careful on these soft tires if he wants to go long.
Yeah, definitely can't make any of those crucial mistakes through turn 12 and 13 like he has been all race. Hopefully he's managed to calm it down a little bit. Hamming and Lianos into the pit lane as well. So they're going to be probably for their final stop. But Scouron, yeah, he needs to care for these tyres, make sure he doesn't use them too early, and manage to clear the traffic in front, because he's got Laurent and Macareno to clear very close. And he needs to make sure he can get through and not linger back in the dirt. Yeah, because even though it has been decreased a little bit, it definitely will make a big effect. The understeer means he has to put a little bit more lock in. That's going to wear it down. The turbulent air is going to heat the tyres up. So it's really not a good place to be.
Definitely not. Batala is starting to close into Devo of Branton. Branton was the first driver to pit. And see what it got him, at least for now, up to 4th place. But of course that is taking into account that some drivers already did their second stop. He hasn't. So quite a long middle stint for him.
And now Batala closing, but just not enough into turn 5 and 6. Closing the gap though. And looking maybe to set it up down the pit straight once again. It's just so crucial. We've seen it race long. You need to be within that sub 3 tenths, sorry, 3 second. But now through turn 11, the long swooping right hander that heads towards the final chicane. He needs to make sure he lines this up well so he can go for the move. Branthal will be on a lot more worn tyres, and you can see now peeling off into the pit lane. So not a lot of difficult overtake for Batala there, and Branthal coming into the pits. Did get himself into a good position, and interesting to see where he puts himself. Scouron really close onto the back of Laurent further back, and now 2 tenths off through the final corner, but he spun it all. Scouron, similar mistake to Vagapov there, and he's in the wall. How much damage has happened to that ground effect team?
Surely quite a bit. Not sure how much, but that rear axle must have had a big hit. Let's see if I can find replay of what happened there. Here we go.
Yeah, we see it a few laps earlier. Scouron closing, and in the dirt, yeah, this last sector has been a struggle for him pretty much all race long. That dirt, yeah, being so close to the back of Laurent in front, and just lost the rear end backwards into the wall, and then bounced into to hit the front as well. So that's going to be a lot of damage, and probably race over for the championship leader, who was looking really good coming into this race, but likelihood of him taking a 4th out of 4 looking increasingly unlikely. And with time ticking away, doesn't look like he's going to have long to recover from it either.
Yeah, it's going to be a very difficult end of the race for him. He's still going for now, but indeed it is a question how much damage does that car have right now. Surely it's quite a lot. Harry Smith still staying out. Prosciutto, same story. And Danny Robbins as well. He's dropped a bit from Harry Smith, but still within about 2.5 seconds.
Robbins has really been consistent all race, put his car in the right positions. Currently P3, and closing on Harry Smith. So maybe even a P2 is looking increasingly likely. Just needs to get his head down, try and close the gap as much as he can. No DRS, of course, and no boost. So it's all down on merit and how much he can push that car to get inside the DRS. But Harry Smith, very slippery in a straight line. So even if he does close, it's going to be very difficult for Robbins to get through.
.15 laps to go, so I think we'll see these drivers come into the pit lane in the next couple of laps. Go for their final stint. Frank Hamming, I think, is also battling at the moment with Massimiliano Ribioli. At least he's starting to close in front of this. Also, we've got Laurent, who just came into the pit lane. Hamming looking up the inside there, but not able to make the move just yet, but he's putting on the pressure.
Yeah, put him on pressure. Maybe he can take a tight line through turn 3. Bit of a squirm though, so he needs to set up a good exit. Goes a little bit slower in, tries to set a good exit out. You can see Riboli's going to be on a compromised line through 5 and 6. Still takes it really well, but Hamming now well within the slipstream is going to close, and the more he closes, you can see Riboli. Wow, that was an incredible burst of speed from Frank Hamming there to take the position. Just wow, that closing speed just suddenly bounced on him, and Riboli now down into P9.
Yeah. Great overtake there by Hamming. And Danny Robbins is into the pit lane indeed. Harry Smith and Prosciutto stay out for now. Batala, same story. Robbins, I think, will have to go to a set of the hards. Yeah, indeed, still on a set of hards. So he'll be going to the end of the race. So will everybody else who does a stop now. And he rejoins right behind or next to a back marker. Sorry, I thought that was Scarron for a second, but no. Robbins still behind Scarron though, which is interesting to see because Scarron had a touch with the wall and somehow Robbins has not been able to capitalize from that. I guess he must have made a mistake somewhere else then.
Yeah, definitely a thing to take into account. But if Scarron can nurse this and even finish inside the top 5, that is going to be remarkable. After such a high-speed shunt, we have to remember that is pretty much a flat-out corner he went backwards into, then bounced into the front with. So, yeah, something remarkable if he can bring this home in P5. But Robbins will be quick and is going to remain off these hard tyres. There's Harry Smith pulling into the pit lane. Is this now coming out of the pit lane? Is he on the hard tyres to the end? I would imagine all three are going to be, he disables the pit limiter. But I imagine Harry Smith, Robbins and Prosciutto. Prosciutto probably will come in onto the hards as well to the end. Here's Robbins getting in front of him. Is that an incredible undercut? Yes, it is. Really well done from Robbins. Was a closing gap anyway. And even with the little bit of a skirmish with the back marker, he's managed to get in front. Harry Smith will have the slightly lighter car and the fresher tyres, but Robbins with that momentum, he's already got these tyres warmed up and is firmly in front for the time being. What can Harry Smith do?
So Prosciutto, Batala and Moscerino all still have to stop. Of course, Prosciutto is the one to look out for. He's been leading this race for quite a bit, and surely he'll be able to keep that lead after this pit stop. The question is, will he keep it after the pit stop as well on pace? But I think that shouldn't be a big problem. I think nobody else, remates might still be on that one stop, but I don't think it will give him anything really, because he's also in 7th right now. If he does another stop, he drops back quite a bit. If he saves a lot of fuel and tries to go to the end of the race with what he has right now, I think he will still lose a few positions extra.
Probably best for him to just chance it. He's got nothing really much to lose. 10 laps left. Might as well just try it. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work. He's got nothing much to lose at this point. Anyway, so if he can just stick it out, maybe bring home some points. If not, then, well, at least he tried.
definitely.
But with Prosciutto really class of the field, he took the lead early on with some great racing to negotiate the pack of Harry Smith and Scaron. Really then just controlled Mocorino into the pit lane. Still waiting for Prosciutto though. He's really extending this stop stint very far into this race, and yeah, he's now got up and down. Harry Smith up into P5, Robbins into P4 because of it, and Robbins has closed the gap to Scaron, now under 3 seconds.
Yeah, Prosciutto going for another lap indeed. So this final stint for him will be a very short one. Less than 10 laps. As a backmarker comes out of the pits there. We'll be getting out of the way of him.
I mean, the next probably to line up to try and get past Raymond. Only 6 tenths separate them at the moment, and with Hamming on a very aggressive, more lighter fuel load, and with 5 tenths back, he should be able to blitz past, and Remat's probably in his best interest not to fight it too hard, especially if he wants to get that car to the end. But yeah, really strange case for Prosciutto. He's staying out quite a while, but Hamming, yeah, closing the gap into the penultimate corner. Is close. How close though? Can he get the move into turn 1? He is going to try and line it up, and he's got some overspeed. If Rematz has to coast, he might be able to send it under brakes in that magical sweet spot of sub 4 tenths. He's closing. Is it going to be enough? Now you can see the overspeed pulls to the inside and down the inside as Rematz has to coast a little bit. And that is Hamming into the top 6. A great drive from Frank, in fact, to get him into the top 6, and with only a few laps left to go, looking increasingly likely he's going to get it from around about 10th place, I believe he started, up to P6, so a really strong drive.
Yep. Yeah, indeed, great drive from Frank Hamming for the HM Engineering team. Now Remates.
Prosciutto's in.
Yeah, Prosciutto indeed in for his final stop, so 9 laps to the end for him. As Remates is also feeling some pressure from, I think that's Brantham. Oh no, it's a backmarker, sorry.
And has Prosciutto come out in the lead as well? Batala's right behind him, but has Batala pit? Prosciutto
no, Batala
really
hasn't.
Strong. So yeah, he's going to be still in the net race lead, only just behind Batala as well. So Prosciutto really controlling this race well, and over 15 seconds off his nearest rival, 16 seconds back to Robbins, who hasn't been able to close the gap to Scaron. So this last stint, with the damage, you have to say he's really done that well, and at the moment P3, so if he can bring it home for a podium, just goes to show why he's won the last 3 races.
Yeah, still remarkable to see that he's still doing such a good job as well. If you take into account that he hit the wall coming onto the banking quite hard, somehow managed to get out relatively unscathed, it seems. Of course, there's still about 9 laps to go as Batala comes into the pit lane, giving the lead once again to Prosciutto, who's 12.5 seconds in front of Scaron, and I think that won't be changing anytime soon.
No, it is in Prosciutto's best interest, similar to the first stint once he got in front, just to chill, win the race at the slowest speed possible. You do not need to push now. 12 seconds is the gap, 13 seconds in fact back to Scaron. So for his best interest, just chill out. 7 laps left, go for a Sunday drive. Enjoy the sights a bit, and don't make any mistakes. But who's this in? This is Batala now coming out. Is he going to come out around about the top 6, maybe 7? Is Remat's going to get himself back in? So Remat's still driving really strong. So even if he does go for this one stop, the top 6 still really good, and Hamming into the top 5 as well. But how quick is Batala going to be for this final bit? He's not come off too far back, so could maybe go for a bit of a surge up the midfield.
Yeah, of course you will have a light car, fresh tires. They are the hards, but still compared to all the drivers around him, much fresher tires. Surely you'll have quite a bit more grip to try and overtake Brantham, who's now about 2.5 seconds in front of him. Hasn't got too much time though, of course. Only 7 laps to go in this race.
That is the problem with pitting so late. You might have the fresh tyres advantage, but you just simply run out of time to close the gap. But we'll have to see how big his advantage is. Bramfell closing on Remit's probably the next person in queue to go for a move, but he's not actually closing as much as we'd perhaps think. He's now under 1 second, just needs to slowly chip away at it. But Remit's, yeah, just a sit and duck out there, as you could say, but he's really held his own. And other than that, probably class of the field for me is definitely going to be Hamming or Prosciutto today. Branthel now just under 7 tenths off Remit. Coming on to this back straight now, 5 tenths, really using his straight line speed advantage to the max and closing now under 4 tenths. So if he can keep that towards the turn 14 and stay that close, he's going to be in a good position to take it into turn 1. Just under 6 tenths now, so he's closing now 7 tenths. Lost a little bit in dirty air, in fact, as Branthel, but he needs to maximise this chicane of turn 12 and 13. Has closed a little bit. Needs to maximise turn 13. Clips a nice apex, using a really nice lip angle there. The front clipping the apex while the back is still powering the car around. And now 5 tenths. We've seen it done from further back today, but not ideal. He's closing, but how much is it going to be? Probably going to line it up for turn 5 or 6, I would imagine. Yeah, just a little bit too far back into turn 1.
Yeah, next lap though, I think he will be able to be close enough. This is of course the important part. Second sector, he needs to close in.
Does seem quite far back though, even with this. So again, just needs to minimise the time lost in this middle sector towards turn 13. But yeah, Remit's making that car very, very hard to close up to.
Again, gap about half a second between these two as they come to the penultimate corner effectively. I think it's again just a little bit too far behind for Branthel. Needs to be about 3-4 tenths behind if he wants to make this move stick. It is on the limit. Maybe he'll be able to do so. Closing in. We'll be going to the inside here. No big defense from Roommates. Of course, the next corner, he'll be able to stick alongside, which he won't. So, position 6 up to Branthel. Roommates will now have to watch out for Batala behind him as well, but I think he's just a bit too far back.
Yeah, around about 6 and a bit seconds to Batala, and Remit's knows, playing it really intelligently, I should say. Let Branthel go, not at all in his race, and he's more interested in the 7th rather than fighting the 6th and potentially losing it. Now with a few laps left to go, 44 of 47, it's Prosciutto who's absolutely dominated this race over Scouron, who's 16 seconds back. Remarkable that he's even remotely in this chance, and he's gapped Robbins, in fact, in this stint. Just by over a second since we last checked in. So Scouron's still some really good pace.
Yeah, indeed. That car got unscathed through that bump in the final corner. So far, good job. But of course, you compare it to Prosciutto. Scouron is still quite a bit back. But of course, Prosciutto today has been basically on a class on his own, doing a very, very consistent, very good race, and showing that he's got some pace here today.
Yeah, class of the field, definitely. Once he's in clean air, he does his thing. Not the best of qualifying, but still, actually no, he got pole, in fact. Yeah, no, he did get pole. My mistake. But yeah, fell a little bit back off the start, recomposed himself and came back even stronger. Very opportunistic moves. Once he was in front, just absolutely went. No mistakes, completely flawless drive, and just needs to bring it home for the last 2.5 laps of this race. And yeah, just extending his gap, even though he is cruising. Bit of a twitch there, probably the only mistake we're going to see from Prosciutto today. But yeah, just needs to bring it home, and a great drive. Zaharov on the back of Riboli, 7 tenths between them. Closest battle on track at the moment for P12. Falling off a little bit actually, in fact, but overall I'd say an incredible race. We had such a good fight at the start, especially.
Yeah, we definitely had a great bit of racing. Dulled out a little bit more towards the end, but of course the field spread out, and that happens. But overall, great racing. I think the slipstream and the dirty air changes helped definitely to give a bit more overtakes down this start-finish straight, as Prosciutto will be coming down this start-finish straight for 2 more times, effectively. 1 more time to start another lap, and then the finish, as he's got some back markers in front of him. Still almost 18-second lead now, so great job once again. As looking a bit further behind Frank Hamming, He's been, I think, trying to catch up to Harry Smith, but I don't think he'll be really able to get close enough. Of course, having on the softs compared to Smith on the hard tires, as Indrek Rimmits does go into the pits for a splash and dash effectively for one lap. I think he tried it, but just wasn't able to get to the end entirely on that one stop. So he'll... Nope, don't stall the car. As he goes out of the box there with a very short final stop. I'm not sure if this is the best strategy call, but he tried it. It just didn't work out in the end entirely.
Nearly made it. Only 2 laps left to go. Maybe could have done it, but pulling in for a bit of a splash and dash and nearly running into the Riboli. There's still a chance maybe for P11. He's all over the back of him in those fresh soft tyres and the lightest car on the grid. He's going to be pretty much qualifying spec now for the remainder of the race, as Prosciutto is now onto his final lap. Only 14 more corners left to go, and he'll bring home the win in Indy, the first of the Triple Crown for FSR. What a great drive it's been. Really mature drive. We've got Mocarino only 2 tenths back on Bertale, who's pulled into the pits.
Interesting.
Very interesting. Damage sustained maybe, or whatever it might be, but yeah, maybe misjudged the fuel for the final stint. But here is Prosciutto, who's only got a few more corners left to go, and he'll cross the line as the Indianapolis Grand Prix race winner coming through turn 14. Just needs to keep it pinned. He crosses the line. He knows he's done it. Absolute masterclass. A different league today, and Prosciutto across the line to take the win. And we can go make a cup of tea while we wait for Scouron, who still not under pressure from Robbins at all, and a remarkable drive from him to even be on the podium, let alone comfortably.
Yeah, definitely. After the incident that he had, to come back and finish second, that is an amazing drive again, and shows his performance and pace in this championship. Of course, still leading the championship after today as well. Of course, taking into account that there will be post-race checks, but I don't think there will be anything that's going to change here. Effectively, Harry Smith 4th, Frank Hemming 5th, Brandthom in 6th, and I think Prosciutto's... no, that wasn't Prosciutto, somebody else is just doing some donuts because he wants to. Mocarino in 7th, Laurent coming across the line for 8th position, and then Ruzinak 9th, Riboli will be coming home in 10th, and Indrek Rimmits with that last lap effectively pit stop coming home in 11th position.
So yeah, overall a great race, not at all deprived of any action today, especially at the start. 4 cars fighting for the race lead, so decisive. But the final finishing order, Prosciutto taking the win ahead of Scouron, remarkably finishing P2 with Danny Robbins in P3, Harry Smith P4, Frank Hemming P5, Danhoff Brandthom in P6, Mocarino P7, Laurent P8, Ruzinak P9, and Riboli rounding off the top 10. A great drive from all of the top 10 guys, and overall a great race. They all very much deserve to be where they are, and drove with maturity. And overall, great race indeed, Felix.
Yeah, definitely. And of course, that's not the end of the day and the end of the championship either. First, we will have today in about 30 minutes, 45 minutes time, the Pro Championship will kick off. After that, of course, it's the main event of the day, the World Championship. All sponsored by our beautiful partners 3D Rep, Masita eSports and SimLab. Those World Championship drivers will hopefully give us a good show as well later today. But of course, next race here in the Academy Championship is going to be the Azure Grand Prix, also part of this Triple Crown Championship. That's going to be an interesting one, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. Around the Principality of Monaco, a very tight circuit is Azure, and very decisive. Qualifying going to be ever more important, and I can't wait for it in 2 weeks' time.
Definitely, and I think that's going to be a great race as well. After that, the Le Mans French Grand Prix to finish off this Triple Crown Championship, and then of course the rest of the normal championship as well. But I think for today, at least in the Academy Championship, it's time to close off, Zack.
Yeah, definitely. That wraps up today's Academy race, but you certainly weren't deprived of the action. Don't go anywhere. You have the Pro and World Championship getting underway very, very shortly. So get the snacks, get the drinks, and buckle up for 2 exhilarating races coming your way for the remainder of the afternoon. And we'll see you in 2 weeks' time for the Azure Grand Prix. And I can assure you, please pardon the pun, it will be incredible. From myself and Felix, it's been a pleasure, and we'll see you soon. Goodbye.